Bum 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 bum.
Okay. So, hello everybody. My name is Kundwani, and you're here listening to the One Kwacha podcast. This is the first episode. Don't know how you happened to come across this podcast, but welcome. I'm glad to have my friend,
Ali.
one of my one-time most favorite people. He'll introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Ali. It's a joy being here on the very first episode of One Kwacha.
Yes.
My God. I'm looking for the day where I'm actually dealing in Kwachas.
Oh wow! I mean, they're not worth much right now, but okay.
Wait, so how much are they worth now?
So I think in 2016 we had our currency rebased by the government, but basically $1 will buy you about 10 kwacha, which would get you, I think, a loaf of bread.
$1 gets you 10 Kwachas.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's like...
Oh, and it's kwacha. It's like no need to make it plural.
It's Kwacha.
Yeah.
Like
so
regardless.
Yeah, so 1 kwacha and
2
1
kwacha.
million kwacha, same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
so it's a singular plural kind of.
I like it.
didn't think much of that.
I like it.
I'm learning.
That's not bad because $1 is a whole lot more than 10 shillings.
Oh.
Yeah.
You guys, is it like 1,000 or a couple hundred shillings?
It's 2,000 plus.
Well, for us it used to be 10,000. So when the government they just took the zeros off. Basically, it's not like it helped us. They just were like, okay, less zeros. That's all it was.
Wow.
You know how governments be trying to pretend that they're enforcing change, but
of course, it's all playing with the screens.
Exactly. But anyway, not to derail. So this is the One Kwacha podcast. You may be wondering, why One Kwacha?
Why One Kwacha, Kundwani?
Well, I will let you know. So One Kwacha, like we mentioned, is the local currency used in Zambia and Malawi. The currency is not the same in par. So we have Zambian kwacha, they have Malawian kwacha. But it was just a play on words because, I mean, 1 kwacha, so everyone can afford it. Okay. The podcast will always be free, so rest your minds.
Good.
But it's just a play on how it's for everybody.
What happens when you want to make revenue later on?
We'll make the money from advertising. We're not going to charge the people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we're looking for sponsors in the first episode.
Yeah. I already love this podcast.
Yeah, so just 1 kwacha because I wanted this to be for everyone. It's a dialogue. Hopefully, I hope to talk to a lot more people and just bring different perspectives together. So it's just a podcast for everyone. Rich, poor, tall, short, anyone and everyone really. And how kwacha also means freedom. It's like a dawn of a new day. So I hope this podcast will also change someone's life. Is that too much to ask for? Yeah, so that's 1 kwacha.
I like it. It's very creative.
Exactly. I tried. It came to me in a dream.
Of course.
Yeah.
Creativity with Kundwani, with 1 kwacha.
Exactly. So we don't have a set structure yet, but one thing I wanted us to start with is, I think I'm calling it the Bwana of the day, but Bwana, the word, has some connotations from colonialism, so...
Yes, it does. So I would stay away.
Okay, but what suggestion would you have for someone who's doing great works?
Great works?
Yeah, people who are just doing something good. So
I would say blessing.
The blessing of the week?
Blessing of the week, why not?
Okay, we'll call it the blessing of the week.
Is that too much to ask for?
No, it's not a lot. Yeah, okay, we can call it the blessing of the week. So
I like it. I'm glad how you have space for feedback during the podcast.
It's the podcast for everyone.
I love this.
Exactly.
I love this so much.
Thank you. I had, I was also just like, no, Bwana, but thank you for saying out loud what I was thinking. So we'll go with blessing. But the blessing of the week is Dr. Dennis Mukwege. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But he's a Congolese doctor who has devoted his life to fixing the broken bodies of brutalized and violated women. So he's a gynecologist by trade, but with Congo, there's the war and all of that. So there's been women who've actually been raped or mutilated. So he has a clinic, and it's a women's clinic. So I believe, known as the doctor who mends women. At least that's what people call him now, just because of this numerous women he's helped out. So he actually won the Nobel Peace Prize last year.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, that is amazing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's an esteemed prize. I mean, not everyone or anyone can win the Nobel Peace Prize, but it just comes from something so pure. I believe he actually decided to be a doctor because when he was young, he would go with his dad, who was a pastor or an apostle, who'd go around helping people.
Yeah.
And he saw the people who needed help, and he was like, I'll be a doctor one day.
Oh, man, that's a calling.
I know, like, there's some people who are just so pure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to get a business degree and make money.
That's still a calling, you know.
Mhm.
You can't live, especially in these times, without money.
That's true.
But you know, thinking about being a doctor, I wanted to become a doctor. when I
Who
was growing
didn't?
up. And then I realized I'm really afraid of blood. So I was like, that's not gonna be convenient.
Movie scenes make me squirmish. I can't even look sometimes. Like, I know it's fake blood, but even that just gets my skin crawling, so that couldn't be me. But both my parents are doctors, so you'd have
Wow.
thought that I would have been a doctor. But my brother took that cause, and he will continue the family.
Your second brother?
Yeah, my second brother.
So Kundwani is out of a family of 3.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
the eldest?
Yeah, I'm the eldest. It comes with that's a topic for another podcast, actually.
Absolutely, because I am
Family
the eldest
dynamics.
too. Oh my God.
That would be interesting. We could actually have like a firstborns versus like lastborn sound
We
off.
should do that.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And then are we gonna have a part of that segment where we just start beating them up?
We could beat them because, you know, the thing that's interesting is as a firstborn kid, you're actually some sort of vice parent.
Yes,
So
that's true.
I believe it is a lawful right.
Because I used to get a lot of beatings on behalf of my
Exactly.
younglings.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of pent-up aggression.
Now, I remember clearly there was a time when me and my brothers were either fighting in the kitchen and my mom chose to hit me. Like, I could see her make the decision in her mind and in her eyes, and she hit me. And I'm like, but we were all in this,
Yes.
causing confusion in the kitchen, and she hit me. And she came and tried to apologize later, but I was not having it. That was an apology that I refused to accept because I could see that she chose to hit me. So, well, Mom, I have forgiven you now after years of trying to make peace with it, but I could still see that you chose me.
Yeah. Well, there's somebody had to be the outlet.
I know.
Yeah.
But, okay, just imagine this. You're trying to prepare dinner, and there's these kids at your feet making noise. So
Menacing kids.
exactly. So I understand now where that came from.
It's nice to see, like, as we grow up, we start to rationalize what our parents are going through.
Your parents start to see that your parents are people actually when you
Yeah.
get older.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I find that now that they feel that they've done their job, they raised you, you graduated, they're like, okay, I'm kind of done being a parent. I can be this human being's friend.
Yeah.
That happens.
I don't have to tell you stuff. I'll just
Exactly.
listen
Mhm.
and maybe learn.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, I have an amazing time with my mom now.
Yeah.
So that wasn't us a couple of years ago. Teenage years. I don't even recognize myself.
Do you think you used to be a diva when you were a teenager?
Not a diva, but you really just think that you know it all. And when your parents try to
Mhm.
scold you or you lie to them, you forget that they were teenagers too.
Yeah.
So
And they know exactly what you went through.
exactly.
But you feel like they don't know nothing at all.
No, they do not.
They can't
do not.
relate.
She's just trying to make me miserable.
Yeah.
That's her life's
She's
objective.
evil.
Yeah. But something funny that's just in my mind is that so many times when I was in break, so I went to boarding school,
Mm.
so I took my holidays as a chance to sleep. But my mom didn't think it was right for a girl to be sleeping or be in bed past 9 o'clock. So there's several times when, I don't know, there's just these weird one-off moments where I would still be in bed and she had gone for work, let's say early in the morning at 7:30. But maybe around 10 o'clock, I'd hear her high-heeled shoes clacking on the floors and like jump out of bed because I knew that if she somehow comes to my room, I'll be in trouble. I could hear her shoes and smell her perfume and no danger's coming. So it's like an association thing that I still have in my mind up to now. It was just so weird.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my. It's like the Pavlovian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I just hear the but okay, that was a nice tangent.
Mhm.
But what did you think of the blessing of the week? Did you know that there's someone else who won, another African?
I did not
won?
know that.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to hear that,
Mhm.
and I think it's going to inspire a lot of people, especially on the African continent, to strive for greatness, and do as much as they can, to help others, so that we can progress together. I feel like
Wow.
that's beautiful.
I'm just reading here on the CNN website that the use of rape as a weapon in
Mhm.
the Democratic Republic of Congo has been widely reported, although exact figures are unavailable. The United Nations estimates that more than 200,000 Congolese women are rape survivors.
Wow, I've never heard that sentence before.
Imagine.
This sentence of using rape as a weapon.
No, but I feel
Yeah.
that it's just something that I assume because maybe, do you feel as a man, do you feel you've discussed rape several times in your life?
Sadly,
Mhm.
the only times, especially, you know, in the past, I would say, like, before the past 2 years or so, the only time people have discussed rape around me was as a joke or an insult, or the way you describe, or that exam really raped me.
Yeah.
And it's like, and as the days go on, I see the flaws in that, and you try to design the language in your head, so that it becomes more constructive and less damaging. So
Like for me at least, I've always understood. I mean, growing up in an African household, or at least our culture, will still kind of place the blame on the woman. So even from an early on, a really young age, you're told to be careful about how you dress and things like that, so you don't tempt people out on the street. But
yeah,
I've always come to understand, or at least it's been explained, that rape is some sort of control thing.
yeah,
At least the reason why, I know women rape men or younger boys too, but at least the reason why it's done is it's a control thing. So this is where the rapist is trying to enforce or dominate or overpower someone, and that's kind of why they do it. So in a time of war, I guess whatever mindset people have, that's usually children and women suffer a lot. Like they'll kill the men and then the women and children. Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's doing a good job. I'd advise everyone to read up on him. I mean, Congo has been in war for as long as possible. It almost feels for as long as I've been born. The country just has experienced a lot of unrest. And here's someone who's actually doing something in his own country and
Yeah.
changing the lives of a few women. So I believe the name of his hospital is the Panzi Hospital. But again, that's Dr. Dennis Mukwege from DRC.
Dr. Dennis Mukwege.
Exactly, changing lives. So that's our blessing of the week. Thank you for that, Ali. And now we will move on to something a bit more lighthearted
Mm-hmm.
because that was quite heavy. But
Yeah.
we're not afraid to discuss heavy
Of
topics
course.
here at the One Kwacha podcast. How do you feel about Disney? Did they copyright or trademark Hakuna Matata?
I believe it's trademark.
Trademark, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about? Because you speak Swahili.
I speak Swahili. That's
So-
that's my language.
Exactly.
I feel insulted.
Okay.
There's a lot of rage when I first heard it,
Mhm.
because I use Hakuna Matata every now and then.
Mhm.
But as I read up on this, it feels like they've done this in the past with Merry Christmas.
Oh,
They've trademarked Merry Christmas. And
Disney?
yes.
Walt Disney? I had
and
no idea.
they trademark another phrase that's now slipping my brain, but even though there are no particular repercussions, because people have been using Merry Christmas and nothing's been happening,
Mhm.
I still feel like that isn't something they should have claim to. Hakuna Matata, because that's something that people say constantly on the African continent, and I feel like as the petition that's growing,
Yeah, it's at 181,616 signatures.
way to go.
So we only need about 19 or 18,400 more. I don't get how petitions work though? I know people sign them, but what happens when you get to the 200,000?
And then you can enforce the government to act on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then they see it as a legitimate concern.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, or Disney.
I don't
They have
know.
far-reaching.
Does it change your decision to see the Lion King live action remake when it comes out?
I'm not looking forward to it. So that did change my mind from the beginning.
Okay.
But as a whole, I feel like Disney should really try to be original and work within its confines instead of even if it's attempting to appropriate other cultures and to have a claim to things that they, first of all, should have no right to claim. They should at least involve as many people from those cultures as possible and give them the right compensation and a creative input.
I agree. I just get tired of this conversation sometimes. It's like, this is, for lack of a better term, white people being white. So all I could do was just eye roll. I'm a bit too tired to spend my energy being mad at this. I'm just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, but I feel like there comes a time when, eye rolls as, like, I've just had enough of eye rolls, right?
I'm nodding my
have to
head
take
for the
action.
people who
Yeah.
can't see us.
Nodding heads,
Yeah.
taking a stand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I agree. I mean, Walt Disney is a very large corporation. I hope
Humongous.
they find it in their hearts to listen to the words of Mr. You don't want to go by Baharun. I hope that they can find it in their hearts to listen to Ali and know that you can't commercialize a phrase that you didn't even invent, that is used by a people and has been used for a very long time. Will continue to be used outside of the movie. But did you cry when Mufasa died?
I was really young when I watched this, so I do remember having like a tug at my heartstrings. But I feel like now, and the thing is, like, I haven't watched Lion King for the longest time, and I feel like if I watch now, I'm just gonna bawl.
So you do cry? Are you a crier?
Yes, I'm a crier.
Okay, I'm a crier too.
Yeah. What was the last thing you cried about, or you watched and cried?
I'm thinking really hard because I know I shed a tear. I think Avengers maybe.
What?
I know, it's crazy. I'm just trying to think. Was it Black Panther? Maybe let me not say Avengers. There was no need to cry for Avengers, but it was some sort of action scene where I'm like, oh, I feel that. But I just shed a tear because I'm a G. Like, just one tear max.
Gosh.
Like a slow roll down your cheek.
Like a Denzel.
Yeah, exactly. You don't cry in the theater or whatever. Just like one tear rolls and then you just like wipe it away discreetly.
Oh no, man, I can't do that. Like,
no?
When I cry, I go all in.
Like, how many tears are we talking if you can count?
We're talking triple digits.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the last movie that I cried was Bohemian Rhapsody.
I know you love that. Guys, Ali
just over a month ago
has snuck snippets of this movie into his life ever since it came out.
Like, I take a lot of pride in Freddie Mercury. Him being born in Zanzibar and all. I actually went to the house in Stone Town.
Oh wow.
I was there in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. It had a lot of his clothes and pictures.
So you were interested even before the movie came out?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's
And I knew Freddie Mercury was in Zanzibar like way before the recent wave of realizations.
A true hipster.
Word. So when I was in New Zealand in March last year, and about to go to Australia, the passport control guy, I saw my passport. It stands in it. It's like, oh, that's where Freddie Mercury is born. I'm like, wow, I did not expect you to know that. But
imagine that.
I think it was slowly coming to a realization that Freddie Mercury was not just some British dude. Yeah.
Nice. Good for you. Well, I haven't seen the movie, but props
you should
to
go
Rami
check it
for
out.
The thing is,
You know
I
what?
only used to see movies because of scene
giving you a
points,
treat.
and I don't have scene points. So
No, that's exactly why I'm giving you a treat. I'm giving you a treat to go see Bohemian Rhapsody at any time of your convenience. So you just give me a heads up.
okay,
And but you gonna have to take care of the popcorn.
sure. I don't
Good.
even like popcorn. So
Oh, good.
yeah, I'll be fine. Don't worry about that. Okay. That was a nice tangent. Look at how we went
So many
from
tangents.
Blessing to Disney to Bohemian Rhapsody. But yeah. Okay. So the main reason why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first episode.
Wow.
First month of the new year.
Yes.
January 2019. Like you said, the last teenage year of the millennium.
Over the millennium.
Wow. So what do people tend to do in the first month of the new year?
A lot of new year, new me's.
Mm-hmm.
Resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of promises
Mhm.
being set up.
Yes.
Self promises. And then it's almost like a test of character to see how far you can go into the year without breaking them.
That's true.
So I commend people who do that. But then I do understand when people say, you know what, I'm just gonna go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
I've broken my heart a lot of times in the past. So I want to feel good about myself and have nothing to be accountable for. And I respect that.
That was me last year.
Good.
And it's kind of like you go in without any metrics or objectives to hold yourself to. So by the time the year is done, you're like squinting and thinking. But it was a good way to be.
Yeah.
I feel. So
It's the first week.
I know, but
7th day of January.
it's
Wow.
it's kind of what I wanted. I want us to talk about resolutions and why January feels so long.
It does. It
Why?
does.
Does it feel like a year?
I don't know why. I think it's mainly because like a lot of people have come from a period of holidays, an extended period of holidays, and suddenly they come back to work and school, and it feels like they're in this never ending cycle of routine. So in their head they're thinking of the next holiday, which over here it doesn't come up until like family day in mid-February.
Yeah.
So there are no long weekends in January as soon as you come back.
Yeah.
So I think that's my theory. My theory that's why it feels like forever.
So are you suggesting that the government put in a holiday midway through January just to help us?
That would be a great idea. You know what? If I was to run for for public office, that would be my stand. Putting a long holiday maybe on 3rd or 4th week of January. Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes sense. But I feel it's also kind of like people are testing out the new resolutions and it just feels longer because you're on that diet and you're just like, goodness, how long have I been doing this for? And you look and it's only been 4 days. And you're like, when can this be over?
So what was the resolution that you did that you didn't feel bad about?
I would say, like I said, I didn't have resolutions last year. Like you mentioned, where you're just like, okay, I've tried this, it doesn't really work. But this year, I wanted to say no dairy, but I think I'm gonna have pizza tonight. I probably had pizza on January 2nd, so that will let you know how that's going.
You're living a very indulgent life. I like it.
There's this brand that makes frozen pizzas. It's called Ristorante,
I've heard of it.
and it's really good. And it's only like, if you go to Superstore, it's under $5.
So this frozen pizza.
Yes, and it's thin crust, and every person I've recommended it to has nothing bad to say about it.
Okay, so do I have it cold or do I have it?
No, you have to heat it up.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just throw it in the oven for 12 to 14, that the box says 12 to 14.
Minutes, seconds?
Restaurante, I'm looking for a sponsorship. Yes, 12 to 14 minutes.
Oh, minutes, okay.
Yes, and you just pop it in and it's ready. And
Wow, so this is your go-to craving?
It's just so easy, because the thing is, we did go to the store to buy groceries, vegetables for the new diet, healthy living, and we're like, we don't want to cook today. We're tired. grocery shopping is going to make me tired. And when I get home, I don't want to cook, so let me just get this pizza that I can throw in the oven.
I like it.
Yeah, but on a serious note, I want 2019 to be the year when I actually try to apply myself.
Okay.
And
Define apply.
I find, or at least when I look back on my life, I don't feel I've given things 100% of the time. Just like coasting through, participating, and not actually engaging or doing or leading, I would say.
I would differ.
Really?
Yeah. Because I feel like there have been times where you have done that. You've done exactly that. You've applied yourself. And you've led. You have driven a lot of projects.
It just feels like life is happening to me and I'm not happening to life. At least when I look back. I'll be 25 this year. I don't mean to say my age, but I feel like 25 is a milestone. It's like quarter life.
I did not know you're turning 25.
Exactly. And you start taking stock of your life, like
Wow.
a review of the quarter of a century that you've been alive.
It is a huge milestone. You're becoming globally legal. That means you
I
can.
thought 21 was.
Well, 21 is a big deal because of drinking. But 25 is a big deal because anywhere across the world, you can run for public office. You can get married. You can own land. You can drink. You can drive. So, yeah, 25 is a big deal. And just because of that, it's already a milestone, and you should pat yourself that you have come to seen 25 years on Earth.
But I did not die.
Exactly.
I managed to stay alive.
Oh my goodness. There's so much gratitude to be given there.
There's actually some really stupid ways to die. I should be proud that I stayed away from some.
What was the last stupid way to die you've heard of?
It's sad, but it's serious.
They're
but
always sad.
A couple of coworkers and I were laughing. So apparently a girl died while using her phone in the bathtub or something to that effect. That's what the headline says. But once you read the article, it's either she was stepping out of the tub and was trying to plug in her phone.
Yeah.
But just something. A phone plus water is a bad idea,
She
guys.
got electrocuted?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And I had tears streaming down. Yeah, that was the last time I cried because I was laughing at the stupidity.
Oh, God bless. God bless.
Yeah, so I should be proud that
Yes.
I've gotten this far.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hongera,
Yes.
as we say in Swahili.
What does that mean?
Hongera is congratulations.
Oh, Hungarians. Congratulations. It's nice. So, yes. Okay, so I just want 2019 to be a year. I have so many ideas, and I'd just like to see them come to fruition.
And case in point.
Yeah, I finally started
podcast.
the podcast. I've been talking about it, and I mean, it's hard coordinating schedules. Ali is so busy. Can we meet up? It's like, no, I've got a show on Broadway,
Oh my
or
God.
I'm busy meeting up with this famous person. So I'm so glad.
But I am glad that I've had time to do this because it means a lot to start a creative project or be a contributor in launching a creative project. So my only hope is that you get the second show going, the third show going, and then it suddenly feels like a job, like a joyful job.
This is something I enjoy. Okay. I don't mean to sidetrack, but I saw this thread on a website I visit the most, but the person asked, so is it just the way of life that you hate your job? Is there someone out there who can say they love their job? I mean, outside the creative aspects, I mean, you see YouTubers and it just makes me so mad. I'm like, I have to wake up and go to a 9 to 5 and someone's making money for recording their life, basically. Is there anyone out there who has a 9 to 5 and is happy?
I feel like they are, because otherwise maybe the world wouldn't function. Because you have to have a certain passion to really get up, have that drive to be there in the office at 8, and then be joyfully there until 5 or 6 p.m. So if somebody really likes accounting, that wouldn't be something that
numbers just get them going.
Numbers just get them going. It's pumped up. So I do believe that there are people who really enjoy those jobs that maybe a majority of people don't to see the excitement in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I am grateful for those people, because at least we have people, who do their jobs dutifully, diligently, and with joy. I like that. Yeah.
That's good.
And the part where you feel like your job is like this stressful chore, is mainly because you haven't given yourself, or maybe you haven't been presented with the opportunity to pursue something, And you know what? I don't want to give excuses, because a lot of the time people are caving in. People feel less confident than they should be to pursue their dreams. So I'm praying for everybody who has a job that they want to do that they're currently not doing.
Yeah.
Is to just have that mindset, like, I'm gonna go full in this, and hopefully it'll open doors to make the kind of living that makes your life worth enjoying. You know what I mean?
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I'm like, can we go back to the good old days when you had to grow your own crops and just to survive?
But that was a job too, right?
No, but it's like you either toil or you starve. Like that clear cut. I know right now you work or you starve, but there's a phone bill, there's an internet bill, there's a gas bill.
Yeah.
Let's just worry about the food and shelter and hunt for animals. And
so you wanna bring us back to primitive life?
don't you think that was an easier way to live?
It was an easier way to live because we didn't live it.
Okay.
We look back into
you're right.
the stress-free time.
Diseases and pestilence.
Imagine, people didn't have running water.
Okay.
It's a lot of those small things that we don't see now. And then once we get there, like, oh my God, there's no comfortable sofa I can plunge into. Crap.
No Netflix.
No Netflix. Oh man.
Okay, I always say that, but now that you put it that way, yeah. You're right. But
and I'd like to add, I really like to remind people with the saying in Swahili, which goes "ubinadamu ni kazi," which is like being human is work. It's like it's you being alive is already a full-time job for you.
okay.
So don't feel as if you could only be human when you have the time to. And there's a lot of joy in exercising all those human qualities within us, kindness, beauty, grace. So I feel like people should pursue that, because living is a job.
Wow.
So, yeah.
When's the seminar?
I feel like I should give out pamphlets now.
Exactly. Wow, that was deep. So yeah, just back to resolutions. So yeah, I don't know. In the ideal world, everyone would be an entrepreneur and work for themselves. I understand that, like you said, there's jobs out there and they exist because some people have to do them and some people like to do them. But I have so many ideas in the creative space that I'd like to pursue, and that was my resolution for 2019. So you, Ali, could hold me accountable, and the people listening to the podcast.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Well, I'll be there to hold you accountable.
Okay, sure. Thank you. But yes, and the other one's like no dairy. So I'm lactose intolerant. My brothers and everyone tease me about it, saying that how can I put it? Anibaba Zungu, meaning it's for white people. But the thing is, it turns out actually most black people and Asian people are lactose intolerant, and it can happen in adulthood. So you could be okay while you're a kid, but at least you'd be more aware of it when you're older.
And I heard a statistic recently that 80% of the world is lactose intolerant.
Guys, milk is for baby cows.
Wow.
Milk is for baby cows. When you're a baby, you breastfeed from your mom and you're one and done. Calves do that too. All mammals that lactate do that too.
So wait, are you saying that the people who are not lactose intolerant, they should also give up milk? Or are you saying this so that people who are lactose intolerant don't feel bad?
I'm saying this so that the people who aren't lactose intolerant stop teasing us.
Okay.
But also for them to understand that truly, why do human beings insist on drinking the milk of cows? Even the cows are done with that. But a fully formed human being still insists. Aren't there more ways to get calcium?
Like what?
I have orange juice that's fortified with calcium because I don't drink milk.
Can I feel like that's genetically modified
But
oranges?
there's hormones in your milk.
Oh crap! Ah, now you're making me feel like I should stop drinking milk.
Exactly.
Oh wait, so this your deal is
It's
to
an
slowly convert
agenda.
everybody to not have milk.
No, all I'm saying is, anyway, I'm reading a book. It's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Eat to beat acne.
Mm-hmm.
I never had acne in my teenage years, and it's the worst having it in as an adult. I think it's worth going through it during puberty, but I just have to be more careful about the things I eat, and it breaks down how dairy kind of affects your acne. And I think back home, I feel like, unfortunately, I hope it's still true, but people here or in the diaspora, tend to idealize the food back home. And it's true. Most of it is organic and not genetically modified compared to here. So I feel like I almost have no problem with the milk back home in Zambia because at least most of it is locally sourced and all of that stuff. But I just feel like here, everything is like quick. People want things now, and so you have to inject the cows with all of these hormones so they lactate more and you get more milk, and that those hormones are passed through the milk and people drink that.
You know what I blame this on?
Well, capitalism.
Yes.
I know.
You know where I was going
I
with
know
it.
exactly. But yeah, so maybe people in Africa don't have to deal with that directly, but it's something to look out for here. So milk is bad.
So when we go back to living in the primitive way, we'll just be covered in leaves.
Yes.
And
the hide.
And the hide, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that happening soon or
The return to simplicity?
Yes.
I mean, there's the minimalism movement. I feel someone might start, I don't want to say the primitive movement, but a move to simpler times.
Yeah. So basically, wearing everything that's made by your own hands.
Yeah. And organic and biodegradable. I promise you, these white people, someone's going to do that.
They're on the forefront already.
Patent pending. You heard it here.
Patent pending.
You heard it here first.
Oh,
No, I should copyright that.
you should.
Mm-hmm.
Kundwan is primitive.
Exactly. It's a move. I promise you someone would pay for that.
Yeah?
They would.
Because then it would be like an experience.
Yeah.
You spend a week in Kundwani's primitive paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you for the name.
No
Writing
worries.
it down.
You write it down, primitive paradise.
Primitive paradise.
All right. Please make sure that you cut me a check.
Oh,
I
proceeds.
get my.
I'll speak to your
I
lawyers.
want to get my big.
Don't worry about that. Back to resolutions. So no dairy, and I want to work out more. I feel that's on everyone's list, but
It is on everyone's list, and for me personally, like it's more specific.
Mhm.
I want to run more.
okay.
Yeah. There was a time where I used to run, like as almost like a semi-pro. Okay, I don't want to say
Oh.
that because
Ooh.
people are like, oh,
Ugh.
this is such a poser.
Marathon
But-
runner, East African marathon.
It's in our genes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like I want to run more frequently,
Mm-hmm.
and I am trying to aim to getting 365 miles at the end of this year.
That's
So-
a mile for each day.
That is a mile for each day,
Mm.
and then there are days which I don't
Yeah,
go. I make up for it.
I feel that's doable.
I think it's doable.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna settle for 300 if I don't make the 65.
But why are we already leaving room for failure on day 7 of this new year?
You know how it is. I don't want to disappoint myself because I feel like I've done that already.
Oh.
I just want to.
Who hasn't?
Yeah.
It's so tough when you disappoint yourself.
In yourself, yeah.
Yourself.
You have no one to hold accountable except
Except
you.
yourself, yeah. But that's another thing. If you can't even keep promises to yourself, how could you keep a promise to someone else?
That's why you can't blame politicians.
So tough. Would you be a politician?
I would be a politician, but I promised my mom that I wouldn't. Okay, I didn't promise. I was threatened by my mom not to be a politician.
I got something along those lines too. My
Yeah.
grandma was adamant. No.
Yeah, very adamant.
Mm.
Yeah, she feels like there's room for assassination.
You know, I feel Zambian politics aren't as exciting on that front.
Really?
I know that there's a guy who was like maybe followed by some menacing looking people. But maybe I'm just unaware because I don't know what goes on in the political sphere, but we at least it's not as rampant as other countries where you could stand and be assassinated. Some people just slowly fade into the background, and that is the assassination.
Oh. Or is it like maybe engineered that way?
Yeah,
Like-
maybe engineered, and then some people really. But it wouldn't be like in the newspapers, like, oh, shot, bullet to the head. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an expert. Let me not speak in that. But like I said, it's not a fear, a valid fear that people feel in standing for office.
Nice.
Do people get assassinated?
Well, not assassinated, but the same way there are ways to make you feel defeated.
Yeah.
And remove you out of the public stage.
But don't you guys have the amazing president who?
We do have the amazing president,
Mhm.
and we are pretty much grateful for him.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is it Tanzania or Tanzania?
It feels like I haven't paid much attention to the pronunciation, but how do I say it? I'm from Tanzania. Yeah, from
Tanzania.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. We've had 4 presidents so far.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah. So 4 elected presidents,
Mm-hmm.
and then the first one was like the
freedom
independence.
fighter,
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah.
Mzee Julius Kambarage Nyerere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been quite a ride
Mm-hmm.
for Tanzania for sure.
Well, it's been a ride for us too.
Zambia, right?
Yeah, we're a peace-loving. People say peace-loving, but I just feel that we're a complacent. Is it complacent
Complacent.
people? So things happen, and we complain, and yeah, life goes on. You can hear it in my voice, but
Don't
it's
you
true.
kueba?
Yeah, don't you It's amazing that you remember that phrase. That was so 2016.
Really?
Yes.
Because I first heard it in 2012.
Oh, actually, 2012. Thank you for the correction, Ali. Look at you knowing my Zambian. Oh, yeah. Michael Sata, rest in peace. That
passed
was
away?
the. What?
He passed on?
Yeah, he passed away. I think he had. Was it barely a year or a year and a half in power, and he died?
Oh.
And the thing is, he had been campaigning for the longest time. I think he lost 2 elections, but I feel quite a number of people may have voted for him on the strength that he's been trying so many times.
Yeah. And was this the one who, like, after he passed on, the vice president that took over and he was white?
Yes, that was.
Prince-
Guy Scott.
Guys,
Oh, look at me. I feel like I'm being tested. But yes, Guy Scott was the vice president at the time, but
yeah.
he should have been acting president till the elections, but it was Michael Sata, I guess, when he had left due to his illness, I think put Edgar Lungu as the acting president. So I feel he may have left before, and at a time Guy Scott was acting president. Then I think when it came time to stand for elections, his party would not let him stand as the candidate. So, but I believe was Guy Scott born in Zambia, but then that's the argument. What makes someone Zambian or
That's true.
Tanzanian?
That's
the color
true.
of their skin.
There are people to this day who don't see me as Tanzanian.
Really?
Back home, yeah.
Oh. Okay,
because
for the people who can't see, Ali is a lovely shade of what shade would you call you?
I think I'd call myself caramel.
A lovely shade of caramel. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been quite a journey. There are people who I would go with a friend of mine from Gerezani to the same store. He would go in before me, and then he would be given let's say buying a jersey. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. He'd be given that jersey for 10,000 shillings, right? And then if I go in and request the same jersey, they're like 30,000, please. So there is an idea that I am not from there, and I'm a foreigner who has money, so I can be ripped off at any time. And I've constantly been trying to
Mm-hmm.
fight against that, because like the father of the nation,
Yeah.
Nyerere,
Mm-hmm.
he did a phenomenal job in trying to remove that from like everybody.
Mm.
Like Tanzania can boast itself in celebrating our different tribes
Mm-hmm.
and like our different walks of life, but
Mm-hmm.
we all recognize ourselves and recognize each other as Tanzanians.
Okay.
So that's something which I feel should be continued. And when you have these pockets of, I would say, I would call them the colorists.
Mm.
I feel like that they shouldn't be allowed to continue those views.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is your ethnicity?
Arab.
Arab. Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, so I know that you
Yemeni.
mentioned Yemeni.
Yeah.
So, yes, there is the example of where someone would upcharge you and maybe charge you more. Do you feel there's this in part is do you feel like the wealth distribution has panned out over the years, or it stayed the same? Like it's of course not everyone, but you probably could afford the 30,000 shillings jersey. No?
I could afford it.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's not fair. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not.
I feel like it's just the principle.
Yeah,
of
the
it.
principle of it. Yeah.
The principle of it. The wealth distribution throughout the years has mainly favored the I would say Asians,
Okay. Yeah, that's tough.
Arabs, a lot of the foreign investors.
Mm-hmm.
But that was I would say normalized when the father of the nation came through,
Mm-hmm.
because he made sure that everybody had the same opportunities. So
Okay.
he nationalized a lot of private property to start the country afresh.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Wow. Guys, you see, we do get deep up in this podcast.
It's the One Kwacha podcast.
No, I know, but because there's that question too. We don't have a large Arab population, but we do have a large Indian population. There are quite a number of Indians who settled in Zambia a really long time ago and have been there for as long as. I actually have a friend. I would call him my friend now, but we actually met here through work. He emailed me and he's like, "Hey, I recognized your name." I'm like, "Who is this person?" But he's Indian and his family lived in Zambia in the 90s and then they emigrated here to Canada. But anyway, this goes to show how there are people who speak the language even better than some indigenous, in quotation marks, Zambians, at least by the color of their skin and all of that. And it's interesting at least how we people choose to define ourselves and how we choose to label other people. I mean, it's just a human being thing, right? To label people, to try and make sense out of things.
It's trying to make an order out of the chaos.
Yeah.
But there are ways to do it that are constructive,
Mm-hmm.
and there are ways to do it that are hurtful, I guess.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a lot to think about. But so
That's food for thought.
So you define yourself as Tanzanian first,
Yes.
above all.
African.
African. Oh, African. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is unrelated.
Because I feel like Tanzania,
Uh-huh.
it's such a weird concept to wrap your head around. But at the end of the day, those are just lines.
That's true.
Lines
Drawn by the white man
of
to
course,
separate us.
during the Great Scramble
Yes.
of Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel as when we try as much as we can to see ourselves in each other,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's more of the direction where the Pan-African unity will gain strength.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Would you go to war for your country?
So here's another thing that where the colorists come to voice their opinion is that no person of
Really?
caramel color
Really?
should be in the Tanzanian army.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're not Tanzanians. So there's and there are people who have tried to be in the army and have been discouraged from a very
Oh my
early stage. Yeah.
did your family at some point ever express that to you growing up, and maybe express an intent or even a mild thought to leave the country because of that?
So it's not as intense that would disrupt somebody's livelihood to get them up and going, but it's those the pockets of the social interactions that I will remind you, you're not from here, which I feel gets hard the more frequent they are.
Yeah.
But when you go certain places, like I said, like the army, or when you go to like a store and you want to get something, people will first judge you exactly as how you look, and then when you start maybe creating a rapport, you'll see the price reduce.
So the same friend I mentioned before said his family actually moved because of that reason, but that was the 90s, and I think, I'm not sure, this is where I need to do my history, but maybe our founding father Kaunda at the time had, so your founding father had ideas of integration and making everyone one, but I feel like at the time it was really more so this country is going to be for the Zambians by color, and so I feel like right now we don't have a lot of segregation or that sort of othering.
Yeah.
Because I think I know Zambia has been declared a Christian nation, but other religions or people who practice other faiths are free and without persecution to practice the other faiths. So there's that interaction and knowing, and at least I know people understand and believe that even like the Indian Zambians are more Zambian in a way, because we do need their stores. Kamala is a very very appreciated business location. We know that we can get what we need from there, so we appreciate their business.
It's called Kamala?
Yes. Kamala actually means a small stone, but there's this area of these stores predominantly owned by Indians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you're looking for fabric, you're going to Kamala and you find it there.
Those Indian business owners.
I know they're on it. They're on it. But then this goes back to, like you said, once people know, there's a video going around of this like white guy speaking fluent Bemba, and everyone's just so impressed, because he said he kind of went through maybe something similar where you go somewhere and someone upcharges you, and he could hear them conversing in Bemba about planning to like dupe him or something until he actually spoke to them in Bemba, and he's like, who are you trying to con? Which was the funniest thing ever, but yeah.
Nice. Good for him.
Good for him. For me, I guess it's the opposite thing, where so my surname is Volika.
I love your surname.
I like it.
It means to dress up.
Yes, it does mean to dress up. Someone's told me it sounds Russian.
Volika. A bit.
Volika.
A bit.
Insert Russian accent. Scary Russian accent. But I believe either an ancestor or someone initially from Malawi, so it's a name that's predominantly Malawian, because our village is actually in Isoka. It's northern Zambia, very close to the Malawian border. So there's not that many of us in Zambia, and chances are if someone has a surname, they are indeed a relative. So it's kind of wanting to hold on to this name and knowing I can't really pass it on, because when kids take their father's surname and all of that, but
you could request a change.
No, I know
you could drive a new narrative.
I could drive a narrative. Narrative is one of my buzzwords.
Of course.
Not for me, but I feel once people begin using narrative in a topic, it's like it's going into waters I cannot understand. That and the patriarchy.
So who's driving this narrative? Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words. The patriarchy and oppression.
Wait, so you just say oppression twice?
I have no idea. I just feel like people use those words constantly. Patriarchy, oppression. Yeah. You throw in some capitalism in there too. Intersectionality is a real thing, though.
Yeah, it is a real thing. There's no feminism without
intersectionality.
Word.
I took a women's studies course, and that changed my life. So once people talk about feminism and they don't mention intersectionality, I am not listening to your message.
Do you consider yourself a feminist?
I consider myself an intersectionalist. if that
Okay.
exists,
It
because
should.
for the longest time feminism has excluded women of color, and
Yes.
even I find the present form of feminism does not. That's the thing about intersectionality is you have to consider everything. So even if I am just slighted by the fact that it doesn't consider women of color, it doesn't consider the different social classes people come from
Mm-hmm.
and several other factors. And I'm like, I hate to say this, but imagine, let's say, a woman who is black, lesbian, Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
and disabled.
Yeah,
How is she supposed to navigate the world?
that's true.
So feminism is just like, oh, women, but even in women, there's colorism. White women would be considered first before black women.
Yeah.
And then even in that, right now we do have people who seem to be hesitant towards Muslim people. So you have a preference for Christians and you hold Muslims at bay. And then
Yeah.
there's ableism,
Yeah.
where disabled people can have a
And
say in
then
the conversation.
younger women versus older women.
Yeah, ageism. So
Ageism,
there's
there you
all of
go.
these different things. So
So many isms. I'm telling you.
I anything could be an ism.
Yeah.
You're
There's a
against me.
Kondwanism.
Yeah, Kondwanism.
There's an allyism.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think would be an example of a Kondwanism?
Not letting people be themselves.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You feel like you do that a lot?
Oh, so Kondwaniism is me favoring people who are Kondwanis?
I guess what
How, like, people are discriminated against.
yeah.
Mm.
So what's something that you champion? That's Kondwanism.
I champion independence.
Independence. All right.
Yeah.
So people who are against independence.
Yeah, people who are against independence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've at least I understand, or I've come to peace, at least in knowing myself. I'm a person who likes to do things by myself. And when I find that people are hesitant or for some reason afraid, it really puts me off in a way.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
think I like
People who
Kondwanism.
stifle that,
I
yeah.
like Kondwanism.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. People should be more Kondwanistic.
Can we not say it almost feels weird. Like if I have a cult, the cult of Kondwani, and they practice Kondwaniism. No. No, that's just a message for people to be comfortable in their own right and know that they can be friends with themselves.
Yeah.
So it's an independence that comes from being comfortable in yourself. And like in the age of social media, we all seek validation from other people. But if you're your own friend and you have validation from yourself, then
Man,
you could go out
What?
there and do you.
what a paradise.
I know. Church of Kondwani.
Oh,
Kondwani
wow.
is
Sign me up. I'll be in the front row.
sermons every second Sunday. From the comfort of your home, you can Skype into this. Just make sure to send $10 million.
Wow.
Types.
I did not think you would go in that direction too. Donations already?
You just gotta be upfront in the congregation. No, but I joke. I just want people to be. I don't know. I want people to be happy. Is it too
Is
much
that all
to
we
ask
can have?
for?
Nah, that's absolutely not.
Exactly.
That is that's something we should all strive for.
Yeah, that's my but yeah, so a feminism in layman, in the simplest form, feminism should be equal pay for equal work. I guess just equal rights for everyone. There really is no need. Men and women are intrinsically different. We have these biological differences that we can't ignore. That is true. But if we are doing exactly the same work, there is no reason why a man should be paid more. So I believe that on that, right? I know. And if, let's say, there's an older person doing the work, there is no reason why a younger person should be paid more or an older person be paid more simply on the merit that someone is younger. And I feel like that's still prevalent. I feel like even more so in Zambia, because I don't know if they increased the retirement age or something, but there is that thing. At least a difference I found is how we treat our elders back home and back here. So it's like a respect thing. Like, oh, they're older than you, so you can't make the same as them.
Yeah.
I feel that's an argument that would be used in Zambia.
I feel so too, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
So it's unfortunate, but it's the world we live in.
It's the world we live in, but shouldn't remain so.
No, it shouldn't remain so. And this is back to my resolution. Some of the projects, I don't want to speak too much in it, but I'm also tired of myself complaining. Kind of like be the change you want to see in the world.
Man in the mirror. Oh, woman in the mirror.
Yeah.
Person in the mirror.
In the person.
In the mirror. There we go.
Person in the mirror. Yeah. So you're just one person, and you may feel that what it is you want to do is not enough. But even the few people, the one person you may help would make all the difference.
Well, Kondwani, you've helped me today.
How did I help you?
You brought me here and you've listened to my 2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
No, of course. Thank you. It was a joy to have you. I mean, listening to you too. Now I know not to hope for simpler times, because simpler times are not as simple. Or would not be as simple for me.
You know, been there, done that.
Oh wow.
Oh, it feels like I've gone in the past.
Maybe are you a time traveler?
Whoa.
If you had to go back to one time, I think this would be our last question.
Sure.
If you had to go back to a point in time in history,
Mm-hmm.
what era, what decade? If you know the exact date, points to you.
And so wait, am I going back? So it's just going back, not front, right?
Okay, you know what? I'm generous. I'll let you go back and let you go forward.
Okay. Oh,
But
so wait,
we don't know what's in the future, though.
are those
so-
two different questions?
Yeah, two different questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and going back, does that mean I'm going for that particular time and then coming back here, or am I gonna start there and
Ollie, why are you overthinking this? Okay, you go and then you come back. So it's not you're going back only for the moment and then you return.
a defined moment? How long are we talking?
If you choose a decade, it would be a decade. So you pick what moment you're trying to relive. Like you read about it, but you wished.
Wish I was there.
Yes.
Man, okay, I would go with Napoleonic France.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to be there in Paris, or as the French say, Paris.
Paris.
And I want to see what's going on because, well, especially during his time in Egypt. Yeah, you know what? His time in Egypt. Yes, because at least I would still be
In Africa.
in Africa.
So? Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think I would survive Europe much. Wait, am I going in and adapting into those ways, or am I me right now with my current tastes and preferences?
You'd have to adapt while you're there.
I have to adapt.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could be an observer, but because you're trying to live the moment.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, so I think I'd go for that. And for the future, I would go for the day that I'm 40.
Why 40?
I don't know. I feel like at 40, that's when life's gonna start.
Not 30?
No. At 30, I feel like it's,
It's
like
coming
you're-
up soon, hey?
Ah. Wow, I did not know you'd bring that. I'm really getting a migraine.
It's not as soon, ladies and gentlemen. He's still quite young, quite the spring chicken.
Yes, thank
but
you.
30 is on the horizon, even for me. So
You're turning 25. You're 5 years out.
5 years go by quickly. Look at how the Time Traveler skit was 4 years
Oh,
ago.
you're right. You are right. So, yeah, so those would be my 2 answers. How about you?
I was asking this question, but I don't really have my answer set up. But I would like it to be a time of convenience when people had toilets and running water. So, actually, I like the 2000s.
Yeah?
They were a simpler time,
Yeah?
but a cool time too. I would go back and relive the first part of it. Wait, are we in the 2010s right now, or was that the period from 2000 to 2010? So those are the 2000s.
This is 2000. We're
Yes.
in the 2010.
Yeah,
now.
I'll go back to the 2000s.
Yeah.
The music was good.
So you
Life
wanna
was
listen to all
simpler.
your
Yeah, exactly.
Nelly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I would
Yeah,
go back to
sure.
the 2000s. And in the future, I would like to go to a time when traveling to Africa doesn't take more than 30 hours.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if we could teleport, I would love that.
Yeah. So basically, you want to take it 2 seconds.
Ideally, I don't, yeah.
We-
Even fast, if I could just close my eyes and,
So blink.
yeah.
Blink and you're back speaking Bemba.
Yeah, exactly. Nishindela and Dechimemba. That would be amazing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's our question to end the day.
Oh, wow. This went by so fast.
Yeah, time went by so quickly. That's what happens when you're talking.
When you're having fun.
Exactly.
Having fun with Kondwani and one Kwacha.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be back. Like, I'm already the first guest. But I know I won't be back for
No, I know.
for weeks on end.
Thank
but
you,
please
Ali.
bring me faster than bring me back faster than you planned to.
Of course.
Thank you.
You're a friend of the podcast, so
Word.
you have a seat reserved for you, the very one you're seated in.
I'm
right
gonna bring
now.
a stick and put it right here
Oh,
with my name on
it's
it.
public property, but okay.
Oh, I forgot we're recording.
Yeah. So thank you, Ali. Do you have any parting words for our listeners?
2019.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want you to pursue that biggest fear you have.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you weren't sure of doing. Just try it out.
Mm-hmm.
Try it out and see how far and how much of yourself you don't know yet. And hopefully it's gonna open up more creative opportunities for years to come. Yeah. So impossible is nothing.
Yeah. All I have to say is if you're like me and you've already broken your resolution, just keep trying. The dairy.
Oh, you've already broken the dairy. My
Because I
goodness.
told you I had pizza on
Yes,
January
you did.
2nd, but I think everyone likes the idea of a clean slate. And then you feel, yeah, if I already have a mark on the slate, what's the point? But you have to keep trying and keep picking yourself back up.
And I don't mean to be, contradictory, but I feel like every day is a new slate.
Oh, there's that. But okay,
But that means you're gonna break your resolution every day.
I think of the slate as, let's say, the entire notebook.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. I think and each day is a page in the notebook.
Yes.
And I think everyone likes a perfect score. You'd hope that you'd have this perfect track record of each page being so neat, but every time you fall, you just pick yourself up. And we have a lot more days ahead of us. This is only day 7, so there's 358
There we go.
more days for us to get our lives together, but we hope you join us on this trip. But yeah, thank you everyone. I hope to see you soon whenever the next episode comes up. Thank you for listening. This is Kandwani and Ali
Bye bye.
signing out.
Bum,
Goodbye.
bum, bum.